There's a story that I once heard that stuck with me for years now. It's about a professor, a jar, and a few simple items. One day, the professor walked into his class with a large empty glass jar. Without saying a word, he placed the jar on the table and began filling it up with big rocks until no more could fit. He asked the students, "Is this jar full?" They nodded yes. The professor smiled and he reached under the table and he pulled out a bag of small pebbles. He poured the pebbles into the jar and the pebbles rolled into the spaces between the big rocks. "Now is it full?" he asked. The class, they laughed a little and said, "Yes, now it's full." But the professor wasn't done. He grabbed a bag of sand and poured it into the jar. The sand filled every last gap, sliding between the rocks and the pebbles. "What about now?" he asked. The class said, "Yes, now it's really full." The professor picked up a cup of coffee and poured it into the jar. The liquid seeped through the sand until it reached the bottom. The students couldn't help but laugh. "Here's a lesson," the professor said. "The jar is your life. The big rocks are the most important things, your family, health, and purpose. If you lose everything else but still have those, your life will still be full." He pointed to the pebbles. The pebbles are the smaller things, your job, friendships, and hobbies. Important but not as critical. Then to the sand. The sand is everything else, the small, trivial things we waste time on. If you put sand first, there be no room for rocks or pebbles. And the student raised their hand and asked, "But what about the coffee?" Professor grinned. "That's to remind you no matter how full your life seems, there's always time to share a cup of coffee with a friend." So here's a reflection. If we don't prioritize the big rocks, we fill our days up with things that don't matter. So take care of what's most important first. The rest, it'll find its place. And don't forget, life is better when you share it with someone.